The correct answer is observable and measurable. Remember, we focus on behavior that we can see and that we can count. The correct answer is learned. Remember, back to the previous slide that stated behavior happens for a reason. The correct answer is true. Remember back to the cookie example. The child engaged in a tantrum behavior to get a cookie and also opened the box appropriately. The correct answer is A, B, C. Remember, antecedent comes before the behavior, A, and the consequence comes after the behavior, C. The next part of this module will review different causes of behavior and how we can identify what is the cause of a specific behavior. We can use the ABCs of behavior to help us find out what the cause of behavior is. But why is this important? Interventions and treatments are most efficient and effective if you first know what is causing the problem. It is much easier to design an intervention if you know exactly what the cause of the problem is. A good analogy for this is visiting the doctor when sick. What if the doctor doesn't take the time to figure out what is wrong with you before he prescribes medication, and he prescribes the wrong one? This could be disastrous. It is the same idea when dealing with behavior problems. If you create a treatment without knowing what the cause is, it is likely you will mistreat the behavior and it could potentially get worse. As we have said before, behavior happens for a reason. Therefore, determining that reason is extremely important, as it will lead you to an effective treatment. Antecedents and consequences are the causes of behavior. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about how they can cause certain behaviors to happen. Remember that antecedents are events that occur before the behavior happens. Usually, when we talk about antecedents, we're talking about events that occur right before the behavior happens, not events that happened last night or last week. These events can be a wide variety of things. They can be states of the environment or person. For example, a sudden change in room temperature, making a child feel hot or cold, could be an antecedent. The behavior of the person of interest and of others around him or her can also be antecedents for behavior. For example, the teacher telling the students to put her toys away could be an antecedent. The act of the child putting toys away could also be an antecedent. Pretty much anything that is happening in the immediate environment right before a behavior happens can be an antecedent. Antecedents affect behavior by evoking it. This means that antecedent events can make it more or less likely that a certain behavior will happen. When you are dealing with a person who has problem behavior, it is sometimes helpful to change the antecedents for that behavior. Changing the antecedents to behavior can result in changes in the behavior itself. In subsequent modules, we will discuss general parent training strategies that can address the antecedents of behavior and make appropriate behaviors more likely to occur. Although antecedents can affect behavior, consequences are what control and maintain behavior. Remember that consequences are events that occur after behavior happens. Usually, this refers to events that occur right before the behavior happens, not later that day or the next day. All behaviors happen in order to get a desired consequence. If that person gets that desired consequence, the behavior is more likely to happen again in the future. This is what we mean by consequences maintain behavior. For instance, if crying at the grocery store results in a child getting a cookie, this child is more likely to cry in the future and get a cookie at the store. If you change the consequence for a behavior, that behavior will change. If a bad behavior no longer results in a desired consequence, there is no longer a reason to do the bad behavior. Over time, that behavior will no longer happen. With the cookie example, if the child stops getting a cookie when he cries at the grocery store, he will eventually stop crying in an attempt to get a cookie. Now, for a few active parent responding questions about antecedents and consequences.